Diablo 4 is on its way, and for the last 2 weeks we've been playing through the beta to see how good it really is and is it something worth purchasing on the 6th of June 2023 when it finally is released. So stay tuned and find out if it's any good or not. I'm going into Diablo 4 totally blind. I have no idea what the contents of this game is going to be. I've played the first one, I've played the second one, I kind of played the third one, but it was a bit crap. But I was looking forward to Diablo 4 for hopefully a newer experience, an updated experience, and something to sink hundreds of hours into. So here steps into the scene Diablo 4, a long-awaited and solid attempt of an actual equal to the original Diablo series. Since this is only in the beta stages, I can only report on what I have actually seen and played and use my own research to make conclusions to whether I think this game is going to be any good. I've sunk over, I think, maybe 10 hours into the beta version, and that includes my substantial knowledge of the queuing screen as well as the game. Hopefully most of us have forgotten about Diablo 3, as I'm sure Blizzard now wants you to. As well as the mobile release of Diablo Immortal, it told us that our hard-earned money would better be fed in Blizzard pockets rather than your Friday beer fund. Lucky for me and most of the world, no one cared to looking into those games, and the pleasant remnants of Diablo 1 and 2 would remain untarnished. So let's start with the story. If you're a fan of the TV show Lucifer and the other works of fantasy such as the Holy Bible, sorry Grandma, you may be accustomed to the name Lilith, not the rapper. Lilith, not the rapper, as depicted in this game as the daughter of hatred, which could be mistaken for Yoko Ono. The story starts strong as you're thrown into a cinematic of treasure hunters seeking not only gold but knowledge and wisdom of the Forgotten Worlds. Here we learn that Queen of Succubi has been reborn and now stalks the land. And now our hero, you, has stumbled into the village torn apart by the winter cold and devilish underpinnings. The game makes you feel for the small settlement and the struggles that these people have gone through, come to terms with the horrors which have set about their homestead. There is a strong Catholic iconography, an attitude swing between the religious and a Far Cry 4 sympathies. And then the game crashed. The story stops after a while, and you are not forced to encourage to speak to the dishevelled villagers to find out nothing which forwards the story, but to pull on your heartstrings and a bit of side questing, which is fine, as it teaches you how the added aspect of the game, like crafting potions, repairing armour, and something about a horse which I couldn't get working. Funny enough, I played the Necromancer, and as the village continued to talk about the great evils beyond the wall, I had already summoned 4 skeletons in front of the village, dressed up like a low-budget drag queen, waltzing around the village, smashing up boxes and looting shelves. I was also interested to see what great evil lied beyond their walls. After a while, you do start feeling for the inhabitants, and even a heartless goon like myself would listen to their stories, offer a sympathetic ear to support them in a small quest and favours. And then the game crashed. Gameplay! A top-down camera third-person style really suits the Diablo series as it generates suspense in a limited area of view. You can zoom down towards your character to focus on the small details if you require, but most players would like to keep the camera at the max distance in aid to see the reaction times of the hordes of enemies which starts to descend on your location as you make your way off into the countryside. The game feels a much slower pace than the original series, less monsters but bigger health bars, so you start turning to a more strategic options. Weapon choices and skill trees make the combat more creative, and personal endeavours, whether you favour a distant attack or a personal close-up style. Each smack with a hammer will leave enemies spinning away in a gory death, disintegrating a horror-style demise, which is truly satisfying. Combat is great, it makes you feel a huge satisfaction of slaying waves upon waves of enemies, and it doesn't get boring or dull, as you can't sit back and click away. Often you have to move, dodge, weave to avoid attacks without being left vulnerable. Boss battles are great fun, they seem to connect to the story or the theme of the current location, and defeating them makes you feel more born rather than it's an actual intricate part and a nuisance to the local people. You actually feel like a hero slaying some of these enemies. A small issue which I found is potion drops, which took me a bit out of the game. Diablo 3 used to have red orbs which you'd pick up and replenish your health, and like the early Diablos, the health potions would be something to replace your health. Diablo 4 seemed to go in the middle, where it feels like I'm picking up a health from the ground rather than having to retreat and recover from your wounds and find a different strategy. It is a bit cartoony in regards, but since I was limited to play on the veteran difficulty, this could change on a harder setting. The graphics. The world leads you to encounter not just bosses, but other places of interest like dungeons, pits, tunnels, all with different styles, all with a gloomy and different aesthetic. You'll encounter spiders, bugs, or even goat people. Yeah, goat people. Even with that silliness, it doesn't take away from the gameplay experience. It looks and feels hauntingly in its absurdity. The game looks great in the attention to detail, whether the character is cloth swaying in the wind or see enemies crawl out from under the rocks. The game has a feel to it. The game looks beautiful with the constant changing of themes, whether you play through a desert level, a creepy graveyard, or even the snowing levels at the beginning. The game doesn't get boring. It looks beautiful. There's so much time and effort gone into not only how the game looks, but how it feels. You feel the wind, you feel the pain of your character, you feel the pain of the people within the village as well, and this is all done through the aesthetics of the game. It feels dank, it feels dark, and it feels creepy. The loots! Designing your character for the main screen gives you a good strong connection to your character, as well as thousands of different combinations of skills you have to create your unique character. Once you hit level 15, each subsequent level seems to be more important than the last, as you're looking to use that single skill point wisely for the moment to invest in your future skill, to compensate for something like a shortage of gear. This is where I had the most fun, looking to the future of the talent tree to see how I'm going to create my character for future endeavours. You could build up your character with a two-handed weapon, use talent points to accommodate it, but then find an orange one-handed sword, and you have to decide whether I switch it out, start over again, or try and shoehorn talents to fit in to the change of weapon. It's great. You constantly want to go back and redesign when you learn new skills, but the game keeps you wanting more. It makes you want to go through the levels, find out what each of those next abilities you unlock actually do. After level 5, smashing boxes loses its charm, and you feel fixated on either boss drops or chest drops. Killing big bosses rewards even bigger loot. Sometimes you either loot them off the corpse itself or it spawns a chest. Sometimes, and even most of the occasions, some of the loot is worthless, so you go back and salvage it or try and sell it and hope for something better to come later down the line. It constantly makes you want to go out and explore, find more bosses, just to get a better pair of shoes to make your character either run faster or add points to abilities that you already have. The world. At one point in the game, players suddenly appeared in a town which you can interact with. For the first time, you can see what other characters look like and inspect their gear, which is great. There is a function to team up and trade, but no one seems to want to do that at such early levels. Even with lots of emotes and the ability to talk to each other, most people have their heads down and they're focusing on their own business like a single player game, which is fine until you get outside the town walls where you feel like other people are stealing your mobs and boss loot. It has that every man from itself kind of feel. There doesn't appear to be much camaraderie at low levels, but I'm sure this will change in the later game when it gets a bit harder. So what's my overall feeling of this game? Oh my, did I have good fun playing this game. It's good to finally have a game which actually you look forward to coming out in a couple of months' time. I can definitely see myself sinking a good few hundred hours into this game. Even if its current low level state, the game is fun, even without knowledge of the end game stuff. As I'm writing this review, I'm looking back on the game and wish I played the Druid or the Sorcerer just to see what classes would be different. Since the actual release isn't till the 6th of June, I really wanted to put some more time into this game to find out more about it. I feel like a toy has been taken away with me due to my bad behavior and I'm being punished. I feel like maybe, just maybe, is this a bad thing? But what I'm really trying to tell you is, I definitely recommend this game. I want to give this game about 9 out of 10. Because I don't know the end game stuff. This is a high ranking game and it's gonna be big. We can look at Forbes magazine, which says, I've seen enough of Diablo 4 to indicate it's gonna be a massive hit. But the majority of people are saying this game is going to be big. Definitely get a hold of this game, even if you've never played the Diablo series before. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. But take care. I hope you like my review. Like and subscribe and let me know if you enjoyed this game as much as I did. Have a good day and take care.